So I tried to back out of that as well. And she told me, no, I'm not going to let you. You can do this. You were meant to be here. Oh man, let me tell you this. When I graduated high school, I didn't do a whole lot. I kind of just hovered around in life because that's all I knew. I grew up in a small town of 363 people. That's all it was. Literally all I knew was everything that was around me. 27 people that I graduated. So I had a job at a warehouse. And for that first year, really all I did was hang out, work part-time, and work at a warehouse. And after that, my dad told me it was time to get it together. I actually went to the Guards. I enlisted in the Guards. I had told one of my friends, man, I'm thinking about it, that kind of thing. And it was probably 2 days later. Here, this recruiter's knocking on my door, wanting to talk to me about going into the Guards. And so I went down to Oklahoma. And that was about 3 months, basic training. AIT, which is just individual training, that kind of thing. Came back in November of that. And again, I didn't do anything. But when I was down there, I thought about, what do I want to be when I grow up? And the thing that kept sticking in my head was going to cop school. I don't know why, it just seemed cool at the time. So I enlisted and I got accepted. I applied for it in Alexandria, Minnesota, and I applied for it. And I actually moved up there, which was a big deal for me. So I moved 3 hours away from home, away from my family, because that's all I ever knew. And once I moved up there, I met some of the best friends I'll have in my life. But towards the end of that, I realized it just wasn't for me. It wasn't something that I wanted to do. I couldn't picture myself driving up to somebody and giving them a ticket and that kind of thing, because I just felt like I was this nice guy that didn't want to do it. So here I had to shift my whole mentality again and again figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And I'm already 21, 22 years old, thinking I was supposed to grow up and I was supposed to have it all figured out. And I just didn't. And that ate it. So I moved down to Mankato. And it was like I was starting my life all over again. So when I moved down there, actually I was 23 years old when I finally moved down there. And I went to college, and the first couple of years I had to start all over. So you're doing your generals and all these different things. And life just kind of hovered again. And I bartended throughout the whole time, and that was fun. So I thought, you're making quick money and fast cash, but your life's you're not really going anywhere. You're not really doing anything. You're just kind of living life day to day with your friends and partying and all that kind of stuff. And you're thinking, is this all there is? And then Jack was born. Fast forward to 30 years old, and I'm 7 years deep into bartending and graduated college and all these different things, but I still didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And once he was born, life shifted, because I knew it was time to grow up. It was time to be a dad. So we actually moved up to Minneapolis. And that's where I got my first job at Lifetime Fitness. And one of the things that I did, I feel like I still do, is I work harder than other people, or I work really, really hard. Doesn't mean it's more than other people. But that's the one thing I could hold on to. I was never really good at sales and never really good at all these other things, but I knew that I could work my ass off, and that would get me to where I want to go, at least I thought. I remember walking in, and one of my leaders, his name's Jason, he told me, put a stack of papers on my desk, and he just said, call all these people. So that's what I did. And that's all I ever knew. So the better I got, and I finished like number 2, number 3 in Minneapolis and that kind of thing, because there's 27 clubs or whatever. So I thought I should be in charge. Because when salespeople are good at what they do, they think they should be the people in charge. So what I did from there is I actually went to the YMCA and I became a sales director. I helped open the Elk River YMCA. And I wasn't very good at it. I wasn't a very good leader. I wasn't a very good sales director. And it was probably 1.5 to 2 years in. Here I am hovering around looking for another job, because every time I got another job, I started looking for the next one. And my executive director, Lee Kroll, sat me down and he said one day, Brent, the best salespeople don't always make the best leaders. And I was mad. Like, I was pissed is really what I was. Who are you to say that to me? And I quit 2 weeks later because my ego got the best of me. And that's really what it came down to. There was no other factor in that. It was my ego telling me, he can't say that to me. He can't do that. But that conversation changed my world. It told me that you can develop. It told me that you can build yourself, or at least try to do those things. And that is a process. So I hovered again. I went to Sprint as a district manager. Again, didn't really do a whole lot there. I just kind of hovered again, making okay money, but never really getting to where I want to go. Always thinking there's got to be more. There has to be more. And then from there, I went to Robert Half International. I even got my MBA along the way, thinking somebody's got to pay me now, don't they? Not realizing that you actually have to put the work in to do it. And when I was at Robert Half, we used LinkedIn really predominantly, because we recruited. What I did is recruit accounting and finance people. And I saw the job description for Southwestern, the public speaking, training, coaching, development, all these different things, what I wanted to be when I grew up. And I reached out to who was my team leader at the time, and I said, can you tell me a little bit more about them? Well, once you do that, they kind of have their hooks in you and they recruit you. And it was one of the single best decisions I made in my life, but I tried to get out of that as well. Because if you look at the 6 jobs in 8 years and never really committing to anything, that's where I was. And I told her, I can't quit my job. I'm safe. I was a single dad at the time. I had Jack, and that's all that I really knew. So I tried to back out of that as well. And she told me, no, I'm not going to let you. You can do this. You were meant to be here. And her having that conversation with me finally showed me that somebody believes in me, that somebody cares about me enough to pour themselves into me. And that conversation, I didn't know it at the time, literally changed my kid's life. It changed my family's life. It changed everything.